Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves some tracks from an act named Randy Bryan. And if we switch over to here, the first of these is titled Fallin In, featuring e.flamingo. So we're going to listen through this as well as two other tracks from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. I'm going to put the album right here just so you can see that, Fallin In. Let's go. Let's do it. It's really pleasant and charming to listen to, isn't it? Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying the vibes overall, like the sound of the drums, the bass, the keys, the synths, etc., you know. Great lead melody, a very easy to follow along to. Alongside that brass there instead of the saxophone. Where are we going to go next with it though? Got like a kind of an 80s synth pop kind of theme to it, especially with the way this track's being released on the 17th of February, by the way. It'll be out by the time this review goes live, but yeah. If you do like it, go check them out. We're on all digital streaming platforms, I'm sure. Yeah. The reverb tails there, how sheen and shining everything is. It's great. I'll be honest though, like I know their vocals are double tracked and they've got a few effects on them. I can't really tell what he's saying with some of the words there. I'll continue to sort of stick with it because I think it sounds great. I'm just being transparent about that. Your man can't love you like I can. Okay. I mean, like musically, the theme is fantastic. It's nice and bright and bombastic and charismatic. I like the sound of the constant intensity of the synth pads, as well as the bass and the drums. The lack of the saxophone lead so that you can hear Randy more clearly is good. I just wish we had the vocals in the center. Nice little bit of vocal fry from Randy as well, actually. I mean, it's sound, it makes sense musically. No? I like the use of the bass guitar as well. The bass guitar sounds fantastic. I like the little sort of hammer-on parts there. Bram, bram, bram. Those little grace notes. I don't like that, the words. I promise if I can make you love me. I don't like that just from a philosophical standpoint. I don't like that, but I still think if maybe there's, I don't know, man, like that's a personal thing. It's very loud. Like, I would have liked there to have been a little bit more dynamic range to it. To have had some parts where the energy levels come down a little bit. Just to allow there to be like a gradual build, or even like have an interlude where things kind of come down a little bit. But I'm looking at this waveform and it looks consistent throughout. So that makes me think that there is not a drop in the intensity or the loudness. Because the problem with that is that it just sounds like one big thing, you know? Like one big 5-minute part of a song. I mean, I like the variety in the drum grooves, the percussion, the sound of them, the samples are great. I like the bass and how it's pacing itself in the mix and how it's being played. I like the little sort of little jingly da-da up an octave that's happening up on that left side there. I think that's fantastic. There's bits instrumentally that I like, and I like how they're fitting together. That you know. Yeah, like those little clappy parts. Very 80s, dude. Yeah, the only thing I'd say about that is I liked most of it. Musically, it was sound. I think Falling In was like falling in love with someone by them making you them fall in love with them or something along those lines. You know, it's fine. You know, thematically, storyline was good. I just would have liked there to have been like bits where like it came down a little bit, like in regards to its overall perceived intensity. Aside from that, nothing. It's good. It's good. And then we've got two more tracks on the Spotify here. Off of the Foolish Charm single. We've got Foolish Charm as well as Here Another Day. So we're going to listen through those tracks too. Let's go. Foolish Charm. Boom. These ones are a little bit short, but that's okay. Oh, see that low, that automation of that volume there with the gradual build is fantastic. Interesting vibrato, sort of like vocal chops there alongside the synth pads. This is perceivably quieter than the other one. I'm wondering if it's just that SoundCloud is feeling the need to boost the signal of it. Maybe they did the whole, because there's a thing on SoundCloud when you upload a track and you could say master it for SoundCloud, right? It just boosts the crap out of the volume of it. So that might have been the reason why it was so loud the other track. Some of the bass and synth elements are a little bit louder than the rest of the parts in the mix, but I still like the way that things have been put together and designed. I think it's definitely very positive. Yeah. Oh, is that a theremin? Is that a theremin? The wow, 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 wow. There might be a theremin sound there alongside bass and the sub-layer tingly synths on leads. Or are they just extreme panned if they've got a stereo wide in there or something like that? I think that like vocally, I'm like hearing him, but just nothing is landing. Like I'm listening to the words and I don't know what it is, but I can't tell whether I'm supposed to be focusing more on the words or on the way that he's singing. There's a lot of singing in this, and I don't know, but I personally feel like we could have done more with the different lead elements of the mix and had separate lead instruments kind of come in and kind of establish their dominance over it, and have times where maybe they even unified with Randy Bryan a little bit more kind of aggressively, you know. That's what can create synergy between a vocalist and the song, is having the instruments interact with him directly by harmonizing or doing call and responses, stuff like that, you know? Like in that part there, I know that he's enjoying doing the thing that he's doing with his voice, where he's got that kind of legato, flowy technique there. You could have always just had another instrument do that, and it would have been constant change and really interesting. Or even the second time that he does it, if he does it every 2 times, have like any of the synth instruments, the lead instruments there, kind of call and respond to him, imitate what he was doing vocally or melodically before. That just would have made it more interesting, in my opinion. It's cool that he's doing it, and I understand musically it's fine, like makes sense from a theory and compositional perspective, but at least from a theory perspective. I love the switch up with those. This is great.
But he was filled with childish frustrations and complexes which...
I'm an old dog with nothing left but his teeth.
You're a vicious, self-centered man who's incapable of a decent, clean emotion.
This is a great way of I'm taking most of what the song is about from this specific part here. I have been listening to Randy Bryan sing, but this is really good from a production standpoint, having like kind of a fun sort of like sample thing from like a movie or along those lines. See, this is infinitely more interesting than what we had before because I don't understand it. I like what we had before was a traditional perspective. We had the vocals kind of either sitting on top of or surrounded by the other elements of the mix. And to be fair to the people involved here, I thought that works like 99% of the time. I just don't know if we had the development throughout the track that we could have to really sort of like make it a great track. Music, the theme was fine. Randy's vocals were fine. This is fine. Why wasn't this here before? That would have been a really great foil, a call and response thing for what Randy Bryan had earlier. That to me would have been great because you could have had, that was a legato synth. That would have had portamento to it. That would have been dope. But that's okay. Foolish Charm, I think it's about falling in love with someone, but obviously it not being the right decision, or getting overwhelmed or tricked, or there being like deceit or something like that. You know, something I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. Some of the themes are definitely like transferable, you know. Here Another Day. I like the use of like old-timey cameras and film footage and samples, etc. Great bass tone as well, but a sizzle to that low end. Fantastic sort of reverb tail on those side pan snares. Really interesting that the snares are side panned. Great synth lead. Again, we're obviously comfortable having synth leads here, and I'm liking the fact that we haven't had the vocals come in, not because I don't like the vocals, but because it shows the strength of the composition behind it. This makes me incredibly happy. This is probably my favorite song so far. I really like the backing behind it. Those fluffy, sort of really high in so high frequency sort of sub-layer synths on top of that bow, bow, bow. Easy to follow bass line and drums. Similar textures from previous recordings, so there is a nice sort of continuity there. Okay, I like this a little bit. I like this a bit more. I like this because I think the vocals are sitting better with the leveling of the rest of the mix at this point in time. I think that just how spoiled we were with having a minute of instrumental parts was great at the beginning, and it's like really caught favor. Here Another Day. Damn it! Damn it! That would have been so cool to have the bop bop there. Damn it! Sorry, I was hoping for that, dude. I was hoping for that to be a new groove we're putting in there. Okay, I like this. Have we double tracked the vocals just for that ping pong effect? There's some harmonies going on there. I think that's really cool. Like, it could have been cool to have had like a crash symbol there at the start of the new section there. Just a new thing to instantiate a change of a section or something like that. Or maybe this is an extension or continuation of... Hey, there's lyrics. I just realized. Yay! Cool. Awesome. I've just realized that we have lyrics for this track. I'm going to check out the lyrics for this one afterwards. See, this is the thing. This is a cool story, man. Like, wildfire's under, head sorted out. I've been bleeding, ripping at the seams. The pain kept repeating, was throwing away my dreams. I've been weeping tears in my eyes, desperately seeking, but I'm saying my goodbyes. That's great. This story is awesome. I just don't think I'm getting the words clearly. I don't know whether it's like a pronunciation or intonation thing, or if it's the effects that we have on the vocals, but I'm just not getting these words clearly. And it's a shame because I'm trying my best. I genuinely feel as if we could like reduce the amount of effects that were in the mix on the vocals here. It'll be easier to understand what's going on. That was fun. Do more of the filter stuff where we switch up expectations, change the perceived loudness. Let things go up and down. Great. Adjustments in the percussion. I didn't see this coming and I'm loving it. I mean, this is legitimately awesome. I'm really enjoying the way this has been filtered and structured. This part especially. Cool. All right. I guess I'm doing a lyrics time on this one, you know. Was I think carrying on that way? I think that, you know, Here Another Day, tired of retreating time to take it all. I think this is basically about him not taking his days for granted and realizing that he doesn't have a lot of time left, or that time isn't infinite. And so he's not going to take it for granted, and he's going to do make the most he can to kind of get where he wants to be in life. And this is my conclusion of these tracks by Randy Bryan featuring e.flamingo. I mean, what do I think these tracks are about? I think these tracks are about love and relationships and not taking life for granted. And like, try to sort of like encourage someone else to fall for you and showing them that you're the better option. I think that's what these tracks are about. And about relationships and self-worth and decisions we're making. I think those are things that a lot of people will be able to relate to. Listeners will be able to relate to these tracks and enjoy them. For the story themselves, it's just that with the vocals, I didn't really get some of these words through clearly, and that is a problem because the storytelling's great. I enjoyed reading through the lyrics. Were the lyrics for Foolish Charm? No, they weren't for Foolish Charm, so I wasn't tripping. There's only lyrics for Another Day. And then I don't know about the third track, fourth track. We're not reviewing that today, but basically, I think that I would recommend that if we want to go for this vocal style, if we like this tone of voice, we have the lyrics for all these songs. Just because even when we've had the vocals really properly placed in the mix in some of these tracks, it's just the way we're approaching the notes and the kind of twang that we have on it makes it difficult to understand it, especially with the ping pong delay or the effects that we have on it. It's just difficult. I'm not trying to say that to be a dick. It's just me trying to be level with you. If I can't hear the words clearly, then I'm not understanding what the song's about. And yeah, that's if it's a stylistic thing and we want to stick to that, that's absolutely fine. It's just being leveling with you. I'm not here to make anyone miserable. I'm here to sort of review it. I think the notes were hit clearly, really cleanly. I'm happy with the vocal melodies that were there predominantly and the vocal harmonies, especially in that first track. That was stunning. You know, there was a lot of coloration in there, a lot of stuff to really appreciate. And they clearly have an understanding of music theory and composition. They clearly have confidence and a polish and a direction they want to go in, and have really committed to the style they want to do, and that's absolutely fine. I just can't guarantee that everyone is going to understand it. Like my girlfriend who is French, she won't understand that. She speaks English quite well, you know, but she will not understand that because it's just not clear enough, and it's a shame because I'm sure she'd like this kind of music. But yeah, that's basically the only major thing I have is like an issue with these tracks, is the lack of clarity with the words coming out. Again, the performance, you know, are comfortable in the hidden chest voice, little bits of vibrato and legato and staccato passages occasionally, you know, we understand how we want to approach and emote. That's fine. Everything else was fine. I'm really happy with it. The tracks themselves are typically between 4 and 5.5 minutes, which is, you know, it's not short. There's a bit of heft to them. I mean, I think that they did justify their length because of the way that the music was written. I think that the bass guitar, no, not bass, the synth, the drum parts, bass synth, drum parts, etc. Or the other sort of samply effects, like in Foolish Charm at the end with that for the movie script stuff, the beginning with like the sit of Here Another Day with like the cinema reel, Look Back on Our Own Life. There were things we added to these tracks which made sense for like 10, 20 seconds of it. And then so we had like the extended instrumental part, like intro of Here Another Day, which I really enjoyed. Like, there were parts that gave us a really sort of like warm, kind of caring introduction to what they're all about, their skill with their production, etc. I think that was great. I think that I would have liked there to be more lead elements, like to kind of again intertwine and interact with what Randy was doing with the vocals, not because I wanted to hear less of Randy's vocals, but because I think it just would have made the songs more inherently interesting to have them kind of directly sort of interact with each other, like again, call and response, have vocals one side, scintillate another, and like take turns and etc. You know, maybe even harmonize with him, bring some other strings or whatever, like something to kind of harmonize with him and make him sound bigger in parts. You know, have additional lead elements further down the line, like add an extra lead or something like that behind Randy in like the second chorus or something like that. Or like have a different instrument in the second verse there to have, because we've got individual components that were made that sound good together and we're transferring between them sort of seamlessly enough. But the problem for me is that we're just, it's like we're happy with what we've got for a verse idea and a chorus idea, and then we just don't feel the need to do anything else, and we're just kind of like copying and pasting that. There are elements there, like at the end where we like had of Here Another Day, where we had sort of things come down a little bit there, and we had like a sort of the lead thing as well as a really kind of cool percussion. There's glimpses of really dope stuff going on, and they're there, and it shows the talent of both Randy and e.flamingo to be able to make music that is as compatible as various components. I just don't think that was a constant thing, which was a shame. And again, if that was a stylistic direction they wanted to go in, if they didn't want to overcomplicate the arrangement and stuff like that, that's absolutely fine. It's just, even with that lack of stuff going on, it was not easy to hear what Randy was doing all the time anyways. So I think that if we were going to go for more of a kind of a mesmerizing kind of fluffy kind of situation, we could have had more stuff going on. But with a dynamic range as well. I feel that the first track especially, things were just too loud the whole way. We needed to have less instruments in some parts and more instruments in others. Even if we're not like automating the volume there and kind of bringing it down like on the master chain, just have different vocal ranges as well. Explore between low and higher ranges. Have different head and chest voice parts. Let the other instruments kind of connect between them and kind of store themselves. Like, there's a lot you can do, and this is why a lot of tracks are successful at 2 to 4 minutes. I think at 5 minutes it just gets a bit risky like that. Again, you need to justify it with an extra version or a different twist in its tail, etc. But look, compositionally it was fine. We understood. It had lots of different rhythms on the percussion. The bass was nice in the low end. The synth parts that they made sense from a compositional perspective. Like they harmonized well. There were different sort of nice textures and tones, some contemporary sounds, which I appreciated there. There was some old timey ones like with the film kind of sample from Foolish Charm. They clearly know what they're doing. And I do look forward to what they do in future. I know I've probably been a little bit kind of rough with this one, but I just want, it's because I see a lot of potential here. And I just think if we can fix up a few things, we'll have ourselves really good tracks in the future. I think as well, just with how busy the first track was, a lot of the time we didn't always get clarity for the vocals, even if Randy Bryan was singing clearly at those points. And it is testament as well that sometimes when the mid-range instruments came out of the mix, Randy was more clear with just a lower end focus. So maybe it's even like a notching of different elements in the composition that could be worked on. But that's okay. Like the production, recording, mixing, and mastering, there just wasn't enough dynamic range in the first track. Things were loud from start to finish. They needed to be changed. Change the perceived loudness by bringing stuff down and up, but that's obviously more of a compositional thing. And I also think the SoundCloud might have overly kind of compressed it a little bit upon upload. I think that with this track, in Foolish Charm Here Another Day, there was more dynamic range to this, and I liked the slow builds and occasional fade outs, and there were changes and shifts there. I was happy with these two from a mix and mastering perspective. Even if they weren't perfectly leveled, like they clearly were comfortable with the sound they wanted on the vocals there, the kind of reverby, kind of ping-pongy kind of effect there with the double tracks, I did like the panning of the vocals more on the first one than this one, because a lot of the time the vocals were just in the center, and you could potentially had some harmonies with double tracking on either side of the stereo field as opposed to just in the center, but that's fine. The bass and the drums and the synths, the synths were often nice and wide, or you'd have the snares come in on the right. They were on the sides, which was fun. We clearly understand the power of the stereo field and not having too much sort of like being left in the middle, which is of the spectrum, which is great. There's clear indications that we are at a level where this can be like commercial grade. And I want to be positive and say, no, there's absolutely nothing they need to change here. Especially as most of it was from a compositional perspective, like with the changes in loudness or like energy levels like within the first track. But I think as well, just with that, I just think in general, like the sound of the vocals needed less of the effects that it had on it. It was just too much. It was just too much. I wanted to hear it more clearly. I understand we might have been trying to put them in with the rest of the mix, but it was just a bit much, you know, a bit too much of that. And again, final time I'll say this because I know I've repeated it a few times. If it is a stylistic thing for it to be a little bit less clear, okay, but I can't understand it sometimes. That's just the trade-off you have. I sit here every day listening to music. Every day. I would like to think I've gotten okay at it at this point after 1,000 of these. You know, if you're in the comments, if you're reading this, watching this video and you disagree, feel free to leave a comment. I can handle it. I can handle feedback, but nice and loud without pumping, even though I would like more dynamic range, especially with the first track. This is my review of these various tracks by Randy Bryan with e.flamingo. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out their various social medias and their SoundCloud and Spotify pages, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.